God damn it, you guys, wait. Wait until I'm ready to rip. Damn. You minute. Do that. Do that. Boom, boom, and then bang. What's good? Thank you so much, Fluff. Fluff just subscribed with a Twitch Prime sub for 38 months. Currently on a 22-month streak. That's nuts. Ladies and gentlemen, how is your Saturday been thus far? Hopefully pretty good. Yes, it's my brother's birthday today. We have to go do that. So yes, that's what we're doing in a minute. Thank you so much, Sparks, for the pocket sand. Eat 50 rocks. Have a great thank you. More of like a. What's good, Lone? Lone says, what's up, girl? What's good, Lone? Zachary popping. What's good, Zachary? Zachary, you got him. Is he everything you'd hoped he'd be? Guys, it was the cutest thing imaginable. What do you call it? Zachary posted that she was wishing on Scaramouche and got fucking 2 Scaramouches and 1 Tenpool. Amazing. And then, of course, in the image, you see a face cam. And, of course, me being who I am, I'm like, what does this mean? So then I just type in I do minimal effort. I just take the Zachary's name, throw it into YouTube or Google, and then put Twitch beside it, and then bang, there's a stream VOD. So I check out that stream VOD, and Zachary is so gosh darn entertaining. She's just positive as hell, although it could be subject matter of like basically being edged for such a long time and then finally getting the character that it's just like I'm on cloud 9 regardless. But regardless, amazing. Yeah, what do you call it? Zachary said she streams when she has time, but doesn't always have time with the whole doctor thing. Ugh. Also, I don't like seeing a person's organs just kind of fiddle about in their stomachs like that. Ugh. Ugh. Anywho, Zachary came out with like a burst of luck, and then it dwindled into just nothingness, which was unfortunate. Yeah. Yeah. She spent like 200 and some odd wishes and got 2 of Scaramouche. I think she may have Constellation 2. So I mean she got 3 total Scaramouches, which is good. But yeah, secondly, did you spend a little bit of money on your boy's weapon? Because you were saying that in the stream also, the ending where you're like, I might spend a little bit of money that I don't have to yam. But second, he was able to come up with 3 Scaramouches and not his weapon. I don't know if his weapon, magic weapons are weird, because sometimes they can be the most beautiful thing on the planet, and other times they're like, it's Yai Miko all over again, you know what I mean? Where you're like, I got a wand, essentially. You're like, okay, what about the gold inlaid piece of what? Anywho, I want to jump in and play him because he looks kind of like what I wanted, which is just like a ton of fucking magic damage. The only thing that fucks it up for me is, I don't know, the animo is not necessarily bad, but I kind of want like fire or something, ice. I want like that weighty fucking, although the blade thread's kind of dope, so you know, I don't know. Yeah, but probably not. I might spend the last of my Primo gems on the attempt for either Wolf Girl or the girl that we had like teased to us forever ago in Genshin, which was like that tiny girl with little bells as ear things. So people thought it was gonna be the first Dendro character. Woof. Talk about absolutely dead ass wrong. Also, what's good, narrator? Narrator says, hey, I'm only gonna be watching for a bit because I want to make sure I watch Thankmas. Oh, right. Sorry, yeah, no, absolutely. In fact, fuck me. Go watch the charity that Jacksepticeye and everyone else is doing. Go ahead. I appreciate you. Also, what happened to the Fluff's mark? Weird. Also, Lone's mark. Also weird. Anywho. Fluff says, I actually have 7 days left before I can renew my sub, but that'll be next Sunday. Like, nice! Thanks. Lone says, Zekity stream. Yeah, he is perfect, says Zekity. Zekity says, Scaramouche is perfect. Now, if you could disconnect yourself from yourself for a minute, is it because the edging, or is it because his kid is perfect? Or is it just that it's the end? It's the infatuation, maybe borderline obsession. Yeah, so, it was so good. Second, had like she was wishing on stream, and in the face cam you could see her like fucking just choking the shit out of this fucking life-size Scaramouche pillow. My God, never change, Sekiri. It was a beautiful sight. Okay, you were just like, no, this is what I am. Okay, oh, it was so good. Sega says, dang, no C6, no C6. One day he'll come back around, and that'll be maybe when she got the money coming in, although still in his schooling is gonna kick her out. Anyway, I don't know. I don't know everything about Sega's situation. All I know is a third banner, maybe fifth banner, maybe. Or maybe he'll have his although at this point we should have had Child's Electro form, so I don't know. Yeah, Harbingers are weird, simply put. I had 300 wishes. Oh, I see. Second says, I wasted my money before, and I forgot, so I'll go with the F2P weapon. Yeah, fair. Second says, no. Alone said again, I did not. I did not get him. See that? Alone says, I will say Scaramouche animations look clean, right? I was saying the same thing. I was like, this is like the Scaramouche to get. That's what I was going to ask Sekiri, which half of the appeal, in my non-knowledgeable opinion, is that Scaramouche is the edgy bad boy, I'll kill this whole world but you kind of vibe. You know, what was that Netflix show that people loved immediately, who were calling this horrible monster a cot? Anyways, that whole type of era, that whole, like, whatever that part of disconnection of the brain is, that. Okay, we all have it. It's goth for me, and for many of you as well. But, yes, the point being is that this Scaramouche is like the sweet, kind one who's not, like, corrupted yet, right? He's just like, oh, God, I'm just a traveler. I was born a puppet. I'm just living my best life, before he gets all edgy and like, I get to burn the world. So is it a negative or a positive? Do you like that you have the soft version of the Scaramouche, or do you want the like, I'll fucking choke the fuck out of you? Maybe too much. maybe a conversation with Quiet. Lone says, Yao. Oh, she is a 4-star? Never mind. Dude, I don't know. It'd be, again, I think Genshin would impress me a bit. It doesn't need to impress me, but Genshin would impress me in a big way if they did make a cracked out of their mind 4-star character again, like Bennett, because it's just kind of like, it makes all of the 4-star characters feel pretty like, yeah, you know? So hopefully there's one good character, kind of really popped off, crazy character. Even if it's like once in a blue moon, just to maybe give you hope, to be like, this is a must-have. I got a main character I was willing to back down. Fluff says, I got the main character I was waiting on back when Sino finally released. So I'm glad Sekiri had her patience rewarded. And then, so, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's, again, it's insane. That's why, like, it's a joke, but it's fucking such a long time. It's been such a long time. It's like a freakishly high amount of time that we've all been in each other's space. In each other's space. I think it was non-good way to say, non-sweet way to say. Sega says, because he is perfect, and he's is he? That's my thing, though. I feel like this Scaramouche should be like, I'm not sure if I'm like, even into this. You know what I mean? The other Scaramouche would do it in a heartbeat. This one may have to do something for him a little bit, back and forth, little thing. Yeah, I don't know what it be. It feels like maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he is also like, I am just Animo and still hella like, I'll fucking throat punch you kind of thing. Lone says, hey, did as for use, I think her name is, and she is like Sarah, but for Animo. Okay. Weird, man, because I don't know what it is. Animo has gotten so much amp love for these, like, it doesn't need any more. Like, there's 15 characters that say, hey, you do Animo things, boost an elemental mastery, giving it all to you. But yeah, Bluff says, also, we've got info on the next 2 upcoming characters on Tower Fantasy, CN, and one of them is the Fire Mace character that was rumored, but she's actually got an umbrella. And will be for Fortitude, aka Tank Resonance, so I'm looking forward to her since I really need something to complement Huma and Cobalt B. You got Cobalt B? I think maybe you did tell me that. I feel like maybe it's just me and Red always talk about Cobalt, so you never chimed in, so I was like, huh. But I was gonna say that man, what do you call Lone said in the Discord. He was like, "Hey, Grin, looks like you can save a little bit." I don't know if I want to say. I do want to say. I was just ready for her to be like, now, you know. So I'm getting more worried because like at this point it's just like, oh, Lyra's not guaranteed. So I was like, everyone's been right thus far except for this one, where like everyone's like, it's gonna be Lyra, and then it's the white-haired fuck. Okay, I'm sure he's great. No, okay, you do not follow this. Also, does anyone who's a Star Wars nerd know if that's the Grey Jedi? And if that's the case, I'm into this game, and I'll probably play the sequel. Will not play the previous one, even though I hear great things. Anyway, but interesting. So there's gonna be a tank character, Flav, huh? You definitely need a character to well round off your roster. The character after Lan will be a DPS of some sort. Really? So fucking what's her name is just that put back? She's 2 pulls back? Or is Lan a character that comes out after the fucking we catch up to CN, which will take a millennia? Second says, I love all his versions, but I do live what? But I do love his Fatui version better. Okay, gotcha. So you're like, I love it all, but I am partial to the violence, and darkness. Fluff says, pretty sure his personality isn't that different. He keeps bringing up things like, are you sure you should trust me with such power? Implying he could very much betray you if it wasn't a non-gotcha game thing. Okay, so it is technically considered he is still the edgy one. I thought he was like, I'm just hanging out. One says, nah, Grin, he still talks smack to the traveler and recalls all the past conflicts. What? So is this like, maybe it's a story? Does he get like, how does that make any sense? I'm so lost. How does Scaramouche, like in the story, do you like rip out his what is it called? Delusion? And then he's just like, no, I'm just Animo, man. And then he's just like, I guess I somehow survived, and fuck you, rude. And then what? What is happening? At least Child, it's like, okay, it's the guy who's for whatever reason likes us a lot and is also a freak. But you know, I'm lost. Okay, so it is the weird one. Huh. I wonder who my main will be in Genshin or Tower Fantasy. Also, what's good, Red? How was the sleep? Red says, ew. What's good, Red? How was his sleep? Love says, or at least that's how Hoyoverse wants to be. Yeah, it's true. That's true. Well, I don't know if that's true. I feel like Hoyoverse wants Jean to be your everything. Actually, you're not just your main. You're all of it. you're only actually. How is the res, Red? For those guys who do not know, Red, we streamed, hanged out, watched the Game Awards. Then Red says, I'm going to work on my mod. And then I streamed the next day, and he said, I'm going to sleep. Which means, and he said, I stayed the whole time, and that's horrible. It just sounds like, oh, wait. Oh, a second, before you leave me. I want to ask you one thing. You are a proficient tea expert, just like Lone is. But Lone, don't listen. He let me down on this one, okay? Let me down on this one. As a tea expert, let me down. I asked him about this something called yerba mate tea. Do you know what it is, and have you drank it? Please, for the love of God, somebody. I'm like, so what was that? What happened when I was telling people about electric unicycles or some shit? Where I was like, and here's the shtick, and everyone was like, here it is again. Your boy needs answers, and I got some of them, but I don't want to firsthand what it tastes like, and ask people about it. Red says, rip Cobalt. No. Rip, what do you call it? I'm not sure if I read what Fluff was telling me, but is there any information on when, what's her name coming out? The character we all want, the mecha arm, Rock'em Sock'em, I can't think of the name, I'm blanking on it. Fluff says, yeah, I got Cobalt at A1. Oh, wow. But since Merrick is not coming to Global, I've been holding my banner pulls from the most part. Wow. How much are you sitting on? Lone says, wait. Fluff says, I did use 10 free red nucleuses on each of Lynn and Saki's banner, but didn't get either. Gotcha. So just a little bit, just a bit like, well, see, building pity. Lone says, I didn't choose Jean. Jean chose me. The only a 5-star character. I have a C6 unwillingly. Well, I don't know about that. Something was willing, all right? I remember I would shit on Jean in the channel when we were covering Genshin, and you'd be like, hold up. And then Genshin's like, oh, I hear you. Oh, okay. Got it. See, never had another Yoimiya, ever, not once, because I was like, nah, stop it, okay? Everything new in this universe knew that I would be not in it, okay? And we never got her again. I know it's not how that works, but anyways. Fluff says, Lynn is the fire umbrella, we're long away from... Okay, so you're saying that, gotcha. So it is probably going to go white hair guy and then Lyra. Hopefully. Red says, Lan is not even on the index yet. Oh, the one, like, umbrella person? Got it. Yeah, man, it's weird they don't have more tanks. Man, it's so weird, especially now that, like, there's clearly a need for it, like, with Merrick and shipping gone. What is going on? Lone says, I haven't done or watched the Genshin story, so I can't say. Got it. Red says, I have not touched Genshin for a long time. It was fine. it was okay. Genshin or something else you're talking about? Love says, having any character outside of the Traveler is not canon. Sorry. Having any character outside of the Traveler is not canon to the story. Having Child, Wanderer, or Archon Harbingers at our beck and call is purely for yeah, I know it's gameplay, but to me it I just wonder how, we know how when you see Electro Child, for instance, we see okay, there's he has it, they have their innate vision, and then they have their corrupted version of the vision, which gives them 2 elements, right? So what delusions are, at least that's my understanding of that. So it's okay, so yeah, we know that I think Child is naturally water-based and then has electro proclivity with his delusion. So then Scaramouche is animal-based but has electro thing, basically electro version. So to me, I wonder why maybe it's simply just nothing makes sense because you're using your enemy on your team. And if that's the call, that's the call, but it still seems weird. If that's the case, why wouldn't you make hyper versions of characters, you know what I mean? Like for instance, we don't have Zhongli at peak Zhongli. We have Zhongli after they gave away their Gnosis and they're like chumps. You know what I mean? They're no more than vision holders. So yeah, but although I've never been into Genshin lore, it seems like that's an opportunity where you could get versions of a character given their where they are in their life. Granted, I think we have Bennett when he just started out the Adventurers Guild and not when he's, grown as a person, etc. So it's weird that they would do time dilation with one character, but not with Scaramouche, being like, okay, this is before he turned into a doucher, and here's when he turned into a doucher. Although I think they'd make more money that way. Fluff says, Lyra is seemingly coming alongside, if not after. Okay, so we still could have there could be a chance. Okay. Okay. Second, did you hear my question? Second says, Second, did you hear my question about tea? Did you hear it? Or did you leave? Or do you not know? Just say no if you don't know. Red says, yeah, Genshin gave me too many dupes of Jean. The only standard I have dupes of. Oh, the only standard banner character I have dupes of. Gotcha. Yeah. Seems to be a consistent thing. I have a lot of Chi-Chis. You betray Yoimiya Grinlaw along with Hu Tao and Toma. I don't love people who don't love me, okay? You want to call me toxic? That is what it is. Okay? It is what it is. Hu Tao never came home. I forced her to come home, and then I had to pay for it, okay? Yoimiya? Man. No, Yoimiya was just broken. Yoimiya just by the world. Broke her, okay? Hard to love, I guess. My point. Fluff says, after those, we are getting Annabelle, Fire Sniper, Eileen's Ice Skates. That's cute. Umi, Physical Whip. Weird. And Fenrir, Volt. Headphone? That sounds really cool. What's his name? Fenrir? Is that right or is that not right? Looks like Fenrir, but I'm sure that's not how it's pronounced. But that sounds awesome. Like Volt as in like sound. Neat. That sounds like a mage, which I actually want. Lan and the boy after her likely are... Oh, I see. So that's cool. So he'll probably be next. Neat. Red says, stop making me yawn. Why? Have I kept yawning or am I talking boring? Sorry. I'll amp myself up. Fluff says, we likely won't get access to delusions from... utilizing Snezhnaya, if at all. Well, to me, man, I still am waiting to see. Like, we have too many unanswered questions. Like, people are like, where is Signora in Genshin? Or sorry, where is it? Not Signora. Sorry, where is the delusion of child? Like, why haven't they done a banner where you have 2 elements or even just 1 element, like a child rerun with a new skin and a new elemental proclivity, new E skill, maybe a new way to engage, whatever. Why have we not gotten that? And then. Why have we also not gotten... people are also saying, why have we got Signora? But I think you have to answer the child question before you answer the Signora question. Like, the game makes no sense. The game, there's nothing to, like, realize. It's all madness. Lone Cynic is also Grin. I finished the interview. It's good. It's good, right? It's very chill anime. I don't think we're going to get another season, unfortunately. But... very chill show, and the gym teacher is fantastic. I love the weird relationship between the gym teacher and the like nurse, the male nurse, essentially. It's just such a hilarious combo where he's just like, I'm just trying to keep my cool, and she's just like, oh my god, I found someone, and it's like, no, no, it's bad. It's real bad. Fluff says, also, we likely won't have a playable Dainsleif until... Yeah, no, Dainsleif, people were saying, like, Dainsleif might be next, and I was like, are you high? What is going on? What are we talking about? Lone says, also, I finished that. Zeki says, haha, douche. Douchey? I did not hear the question. I was going to say, my question is, have you ever heard, as a tea expert, a tea drinker, maybe. I would say expert, but that's just my own perception. Have you heard of a tea called yerba mate tea? And have you had it? My only question. Now, when I have follow-up questions, given the answer. Although I've asked this to Lone, another avid tea drinker, and he's come out with, what? And yeah. Although he's been really on this titty milk thing, don't worry about it. Fred says, Fenrir is a disappointment. They had an opportunity to, and squandered it. Octavia is still the best music character I've ever played. Well, is Octavia that? Or is Octavia overpowered and therefore it makes everything feel better? Because I feel like if Octavia wasn't, like, juiced, like, absolutely fucking cracked out of her mind, it would be like, it's a character that nobody plays. But they need to scale up the damage to be like, no. This can get real good. Especially if, again, so many games I wish had, like, the Hellsinger rhythm mechanic. It just seems like such a fun idea of, like, bop, 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 bop. Except you need to reward, like, big boy damage. At least I think, but yeah. Wait, Volt headphone question mark? Yeah, it sounds like some sort of magic. It reminds me of Zero, who I still don't have. Who's like summoning 4 of like weird triangle music bars, essentially. Yawning is contagious. Did I yawn? I must have yawned and just completely blacked out. Zaggy says, child has a delusion though. Fluff says, grin. What do you mean, child? Fluff says, grin simply had the principal's expectation of Yoimiya that she was never gonna meet. She's solid burst DPS, especially nowadays. I will always stand by the thing that I think is unrefutable, which is Yoimiya is a character-dependent character. Okay, sorry, weapon-dependent character. Fuck me, weapon-dependent character. I think if I had an R5 Rust, I'd be sitting pretty. I still think she doesn't auto. Like again, my intrinsic problems are not DPS or anything like that, folks. So when people say she's a good DPS, and again, it frustrates me to no end because whenever I see people say this, they have a fucking C6 Yoimiya or some shit. I want to see, give me someone who's like consistently playing Yoimiya to this day, okay? Because it's my two issues are the clunk, because you can't auto lock on anybody. The best you can do is run at them and be like, please, for love of God, good, she's auto locking. And then you're like, there's a person coming right to our side, Yoimiya, please aim that way, and it's rough. Yeah, like people are still playing characters that they love, like what do you call it, Hu Tao and all these characters that are just good DPSs and function really well. But I think I would have had a great time with Yoimiya. I would have been able to get through the clunk and enjoyed her for 2 months before the clunk started to just get annoying when I could just play another character with less clunk. But the clunk is that you can't for sure aim at the person you're aiming at, and the fact that I believe to this day she is still very a weapon-dependent character. Now, if you want to go use Yoimiya, full send it. As far as my expectations for Yoimiya, I don't think they were overly skewed in the slightest. If you think back at that time period, Yoimiya had, what do you call it? She had, no character was lessened to the extent of their amplification. So even though, like just because there was a free-to-play R5 Rust, just because there was an artifact set that would increase your damage by 60%, they specifically throttled her damage so that with all of that having the most critical rate, the most critical damage, the most attack scaling, and the artifact set, when you detonate it, you lose your ult, but then you gain damage, then you would be cracked. The only thing that doesn't account for is how hard the artifacts are to get that cracked. So that you just had a character that, like, until you had the most cracked artifacts, then she'd be really good. If you just have basic ass artifacts and all the other stuff, you're better off going on any other character. Anyway, I still feel like it's one of the biggest weird things ever. And again, I'd say, where's Yoimiya now? I don't see Yoimiya anywhere. So it's not just me, the clunkiness, the DPS, etc. I don't think she's a bad character, because no character in Genshin is bad. But all of those things, I think, are not a thing. Now, whether they are a game breaker or a deal breaker for you is entirely fair, but I do not feel unjustified in my like, all of my things are put out in that exact way, essentially. I feel good about that, not even argument, but just experience and questions. How do you solve those questions? And this is why no one uses her to this day. I shouldn't say nobody uses her. I'm sure people will come up and be like, this guy uses her. Does he continually use her all the time? Like people who use Hu Tao, like people who use Yoimiya, like people use who don't use characters that are overpowered. I still see more people play Yanfei, just because she's incredibly consistent rather than Yoimiya. Because she has mass AoE instead of single target damage, which most of the encounters in Genshin, you do not need a bazillion damage to nuke down an enemy really quickly. The only one example you need is Spiral Abyss, and even then, that seems to be constantly trying to gamify that away from that. Anyways, still think it's again, I will concede in the way that Yoimiya is not a bad character. I will not concede that you need a lot to make her good, and that is a massively relevant factor in what you're doing, and because every character can become God in that game. So it's just a depiction of how hard is it to make that character really good. And I do not think my perspective of Yoimiya was at all skewed because of the fact that she was scaled down based on how many things amped up her damage. I think she was scaled down too much, and I think that's a weird way to build a character. I'd rather you nuke down the buffs in general. That way you could have a good time experiencing her and playing her, and then get a boost of damage when you get the right artifacts, instead of it being like, oh wow, she feels really terrible unless you have an R5 Rust and or her legendary weapon, and or something that gives her one notch above her artifacts and the weapon scaling. But yeah, Secretary says a Vision is Electro, but he uses weird. Okay, so that is technically the Vision. That's weird. That seems like just like they're like fuck it, do that. Yeah, weird. Okay, huh? Maybe there's you're trying to find like patterns and there's no such thing. It's just like no, you know, we just can't do that. we can't give you the Electro version of Child. It's too much. 2 elements, no. The game would blow up. Executive says Senor is dead, trying to crush all of our dreams. Actually, I don't even. Yeah, your dreams, not mine. Fluff says I feel Tower Fantasy handled it better regarding to why are those characters not the same as the story counterparts, in that we've got the AI copies of them, not the real person. Oh yeah, where we basically just have like a 3D model of their memories essentially. So yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, so you're not, and also you can like 3D scan their like skin or whatever the future has. Yeah, Tower Fantasy had a better way of like coming up with a quick like fuck it here. You're basically like this system accounts for legends and like copies their entire genetic makeup and memories into one thing. Lone says it was great, and yeah, probably won't get another season. I'll read the if you read the manga, let me know how it be, because I'm curious how that all flushes out, specifically in regards to the romance aspect of the gym teacher and the nurse guy. Fluff says, and yes, Fenrir has floating earphones as she's a Volt Pop idol. Oh, I thought it was a dude. God damn it, man. I don't know. I don't know. I want a character that is not Huaman, essentially. I have plenty of Huaman on the team. I don't want the new character, the guy who looks like a weird, I don't know what you call it, white-haired Zhongli. I remember all those Dames Leaf clickbait videos. Yeah, man, me too. Fluff says she has a Volt resonance, but her elemental balance, where she has an alternative passive, but if you have 3 different elements. Okay. Segni says, I have heard of it, yes. I have not tried it. God damn it! I wanted to ask somebody what it tastes like, because I Googled it, Sekiri, this tea, yerba mate tea, and apparently it's the classic, you know me, your boy goes down the rabbit hole and like sees a bunch of health things and thinks, fuck it, I'll try some of these. So one of them is with this tea, just being like really awesome in terms of caffeine. Also, goddamn, that lady's legs are just shredded. Anyways, but yeah, I'm trying to find out what it tastes like essentially. And the best Google can do for me is they say it tastes like paprika or like some sort of really spice kind of thing. Like it's a mixture of vegetables, grass, and like bitterness. I don't know, dude. It sounds like it's gonna be a tough drink to drink, but supposedly you grow to like it because of the dopamine responses, but who fucking knows? Red says, I'm not referring to Octavia's power, I'm referring to the customization option to where you can make like their own beats and whatnot. Yeah, that was cool. That was really cool, yeah. It was also a little annoying. I think the devs did come up with a way for you to mute like something like Octavia's stupid, like, because a lot of what would happen and it's the worst. I was a part of the problem, but basically because people didn't want to time the crouch, also weird lag, it just never really felt like it was always happening. So people would just basically max out everything, so it was like so you would basically never miss. You would just button smash, and one of the times you would detonate the ability. So I played so many games where I'm sure so many people were like, it's just noise. It's just like just the whole time, and I was like, ooh. I do think they give you the ability to turn it off audibly for yourself as well. But yeah, definitely was a mess for people who just couldn't be fucking bothered to time the crouches, which was me. Fluff says Fenrir's attacks actually have her attack with Volt Claw slashes and martial musical like little like notes or whatnot. Okay, I know what that is. Auras? Okay. Red says, I have Mortal Kombat them song, a theme song, and a smooth criminal of my Octavia. Yeah, I guess that, is that, I don't think that's the right one. I think I just, for whatever reason, that comes in my head. I remember there was like a best of Octavia videos, and I remember hearing that's not, what is it called? The goddamn Undertale, I think is what it's called. It's just a bunch of songs where, and again, all of the most popular ones were ones where they had like consistent beats, like, where you could just, as soon as you hear it, you just start crouching fervently, and you get a detonate. Also, I should loot this. Red says, I had a Mortal Kombat theme over Fluff says, don't they address the issue with auto-locking with ranged attacks a while ago? Or was that just for the wolf boss? Not with all enemies. Yeah, I was about to say, because my one thing I always come back to is what determines a good character. Like, that's something I learned about when I'm doing all my recon research stuff for YouTube and whatnot. Which is what is something that succeeds? And what is something that like massive amounts of people really resonate with and enjoy? And if you constantly keep looking at that, you'll find things that are like a question that's easily answered, essentially. So one of those things for me when I look at the Genshin game is, well, what characters are people continuing to play that are old and maybe in some ways aren't even the maximum damage threshold that you can beat? And a lot of them are people, it's what you'd expect. It's like I still see Ganyu just because of her usefulness and just because you don't need all of the damage. Hu Tao I still see pretty consistently. I weirdly am seeing consistently to this day the weird Dice Girl, the one who's like Ito's mom essentially, but not really, just as like his guardian or whatever. Not even that. I know she's just like his friend, whatever. Anyway. But yeah, so I wonder why. And again, it could just be like the circles. Although I'm just grabbed to like the top Genshin people. The only time I ever see Yoimi is in Spiral Abyss, and then nowhere else. And even then, I still see her being swapped off for other characters that have different bonuses like that. Fluff says her brief sample of gameplay before her release also provided a false impression, as she was just plowing through the generic guards that are meant to be pushovers. Yeah, well, I don't know. I still remember sometimes in those when you're fighting the guards, they sometimes put up somewhat of a fight. So yeah, I think the one thing that was really a fuck up in that is that we fought the guards on water, on like a little thin piece of water near a lake. And that would basically just chain detonate water, so you just be vaporizing like every second. I think it's weird things in Genshin where if water is provided through a source of your character, and then if an element is provided through a source of the environment, they're different. It's one of the reasons why I think the guy who punches shit in Anemo was so good is because for whatever reason he could like apply an element twice without the cooldown of elemental things being affected. So there was that, I think, possibly coming into play. So that was also like a weird thing, is that you were basically able to dip into like vaporize what seemed like twice, but yeah. Also, her alt is like, I haven't heard anybody make an argument for the ult. You know what I mean? They'll be rough. Okay. Hu Tao? Red says, I don't know, Amber is pretty bad. Now, I haven't even seen Amber pop off, man. I haven't seen Amber, like, because Amber, like, at least you can chamber a high capacity fire dot, so then you can vaporize. You only need is low damage, high DPS, so unless you're massively applying vaporize, it gets tricky. You can do it, it's still possible, it's tricky. Her burst is pretty much not to be used, and she synergizes with artifacts and weapons that focus on her autos and seals instead. However, Inazuma Onward has left a lot of pyro characters behind. Thoma, Yoimiya both weren't very viable with their content or enemies. And with Dendro, while pyro still causes burn, it's not the main thing to combo with. I would still, for me, and maybe I'm wrong on this, I would still put, I think it's weirdly Dendro, Electro, which, fuck me, is that crazy to say, Pyro, Vaporize, but the thing is, I don't think they're far apart. I don't think they're like drastically far apart. And I think it's easier to get into Dendro and Electro than it is to get Fire and all that, because you need just a lot of weird Vaporize things and just higher attack and critical rate where you can just get Elemental Master and you'll be fine. Anyways, then I would say it's probably Water, and then it's bottom of the barrel is maybe Anemo is above Water. Actually, I'd say Anemo is above Water, and then it would go Water and then Geo, which is hilarious because Geo just got a buff. So, but Geo is looking rough. I don't. Ugh. What's good, Wilson? Wilson says, Grin! Wilson! How are you, my friend? How are you? What game are you most excited for for 2023? I wonder if anyone's gonna say something that I should keep on my radar that I forgot about. Fluff says, and with Dendro, while Pyro still causes burn, it's not the main thing the combo with Yeah. Red says, more waifus. Red. I want at least a 20, 80 or something like that split. Okay. And right now it's a 99. I think there's only like 2 dudes. Actually, that's true. The dudes are just in the base game, I guess. Or in the standard band. What I mostly meant is that Yoimi is actually played, you don't use her burst, when she's more built as an elemental reactor setup, with a different main DPS, that's when you use it. Okay. Activate played, you don't use her burst when she's more built as an elemental reactor. But how does that work with the elemental her like her E skill? How does that work? Because you're on quite a long cooldown. When you activate Yoimi's E, you have to play her for I think a duration of like 15 seconds. Is that right? Or are you saying the opposite? You're saying that like no, Yoimi is meant to detonate the elemental reactions, but setup to me makes me think that you're trying to say that Yoimi is supposed to set up the elemental effects and then get like another character, like a water character, to reverse vaporize and then knock him down. The only thing is that you usually Genshin is played on quite a big cycle, and I don't know if wouldn't Yoimi's single target nature not be very good in that way? Or are you saying that's her ult? Even her ult, sometimes you can't choose who it goes on, so then I don't know how you'd follow that. Did you not use the gender swap ticket? It doesn't matter which character is when you just use the customized. Yeah, no, that's true. I know there's definitely it's good that you can switch to a dude character, but it's still, there's no character in the game that even looks near Zero. Zero's got like this fucking giant ass like bomber hoodie on, with like crazy fucking spikes coming out of himself. Like there's a different level. There's different levels to this design game, okay? And yeah. Also, the main character sounds kind of stupid. It doesn't sound like a unique person. That's kind of, I want to play the unique version of the dude character, not like role play as me in this weird thing, you know. And the ice character that followed after Lan will be male. Okay, definitely. What are ice characters being dudes all the time? Wilson says, how's things been? Good to see you on while I'm awake. Yeah, man. Well, we stream at 1 p.m. now. Hopefully. Hopefully. The only day that's not the case is, I think, Tuesday. Tuesday we stream at 5 because of, it's just nice to, weirdly, it's weird. Yeah, streaming at 5 is nice because I have my, like, it feels like I have 5 hours, whereas when I end these streams usually I feel like I only have 2, and even then I'm kind of like it's weird. But also we can stream longer if we want is the thing. But I'm a good Wilson. How are you? That's a far more interesting topic. Also, I have a drink here, a fancy smanchy drink. It's a vanilla bean. It's very good, but heavily overpriced. Fluff says, however, he's pretty effeminate, but by the looks of it, so you will likely be disappointed. It may just be me, but I either want them to be hella masculine or hella confusing. You know what I'm saying? I want either or. I don't want it to be in between. I want it to be fully send confusion or fully send, nah, that's my guy. You know what I mean? Love says, how, oh, wait, Red says, I had Yoimiya set up for her autos, but still found her burst or her alt really useful. Really, I've never really found her alt very useful. But I think it's also just the artifacts lean quite hard in the other direction. At least now, or at least then. Maybe now is different. There's better artifacts for her. Red says, I had Yoimiya set up. Or Love says, yeah, if anything, you use her burst whenever she's having downtime on her skill. Oh, okay, so you're saying maybe her alt was the thing that could be the thing that applies the element, but you can't control what it applies to. And if an enemy's farther away, then the alt just goes away. I don't know why you wouldn't just use Shang Ling, who has an alt that stays around you constantly. It does a fuck ton of damage by itself. Like this was always, to me, the thing that came back to Yoimiya, where people would be like, well, you can do this way. And I'm like, yeah. But it just seems like you're investing in a character that's going to not give you what another character could give you, but more. And I think because every character can theoretically become good, you're just basing on what's going to be the hardest to achieve that, I guess. Yeah, if anything, you use her burst whenever she's having downtime by her skill. Red says, yep, I cast it right as her skill ends, yeah. Then you swap to a character, yeah. Second says, I actually haven't had tea in a while, which is sad. What have you been drinking? Nothing? Or have you been like, nah, Grin, coffee. Coffee with the school shit coffee. Which is what it meant for. Yeah, no, that's always been the way that everyone's played it. Well, sorry, that's what everyone usually plays Yoimiya as, is like you use her skill. Well, at least if you're using the artifact set that you have her, you use her E, that takes off 30% of your skill, but then you just keep using Yoimiya, dealing damage, and then when your E is about to die, you'll have generated enough particles through your E activation, or just through whatever other characters that are generating particles, and then you'll have your ult again, you'll pop your ult, and then you switch off to the other character, essentially. Even though there is a version of her with her constellation that you're supposed to use her alt, then use her E, build up attack for your other DPS, and then switch to them, which is weird, but I guess could work. Wilson says, that's Castlevania? I don't know, which one did you see, Castlevania? Hades. Hades was the one that we were just seeing, so I think it was Hades, but yeah. Lone says, Elaine was the dice girl. It's not coming out, Dead Cell. Oh, no, that one I see. Oh, we're behind in chat. I need to catch up. As I said, I gave the false expectation, so we should finally be available. I don't have the same, I didn't have the same situation. Yeah. Wilson says, Starfield. Yeah, man. Okay, hey, Wilson, are you excited for Starfield, or are you excited for the mods? Because I find myself, man, as much as I think Starfield's going to be awesome, good. Let's say good. It's gonna be good. Okay. Usually Bethesda can hit good. Okay. But to me, man, it's like I'm more excited for, like, yeah, we're gonna play it for probably a fucking week straight. Maybe do a God of War thing, just more. And then what happens like 3 months later when people start cooking, when people start fucking throwing some crazy shit in that game. Again, Todd Howard did an interview a while ago and said that they're starting to build their games ever since Skyrim, or specifically Fallout 4, I think. And they can't really, we haven't been able to see this because, what's it called? Fallout 76 was a multiplayer game, so it couldn't have mods. I still think they figured out a way to do that. But anyways, the point is that we're now going to be able to see what he said, which was they're starting to build out their games with the expectation that people will be playing them for a long time and adding to them for a long time. So more scripts basically being in the mod kit, and also creating systems that modders can build off of. So I was like, okay. And if you look at Starfield, a lot of that shit looks like that, like a systems that you can like build out your spaceship. You can have a wing in there. You can have a whole bunch of things, and that way you can set up like mining asteroids and whatnot. And I'm sure on the base game it'll be a grind and horrible, and then a person will make a mod that gamifies it and makes it happen automatically when you're gone. You just stick down a stick into the ground, you go do side quests, you come back, that stick turned into a giant empire and you're just making hella rock, whatever it is. Fluff says Geo and Animo has new reactions with Dendro, but Animo is still synergizes with everything else. That's true. Yeah, Animo is definitely ahead of a lot of any of the reaction ones. Dendro and Anemo probably are the first two. It's just you need, yeah, probably Dendro, Anemo, then Electro, and then the rest. The rest. Each act and Genshin seem to shift focus to certain combos and characters fall in and out of the meta. Yeah, that's one thing that's interesting about Genshin, is that it seems like it's handling like the balance and the buffing of characters in a really weird way. Like ever since Dendro, every Electro character has been getting a lot of love, and even characters that are old as shit are still like, no, they actually are perfectly fine now, like 100% playable. Not like the best, but still you can enjoy the hell out of them and play them. And that was just with the adage of one thing. We haven't quite had that same turnaround with areas. Like there hasn't been an artifact set that's been like, okay, now this is totally balanced. It's usually like, it's kind of good. It's kind of good now, but you also need to get a whole new artifact set. So like, fuck. Seggy says, Alitham is coming soon. What is that? What the fuck? I've never read that word. Is that the, what is it called? The water area? What's good, Multi? Multi says, hey, what's good, Multi? How are you? Fluff says, and once you get 0, you'll probably just use his appearance with any weapon. I use my main character predominantly, as I don't really find most of the other characters as appealing and aesthetic. Did you get the Tifa skin? Because if you got the Tifa skin, I get it. But if you didn't, I don't know. But yeah, no, I think, yeah. Well, I actually, man, to tell you the truth, I would love if an ideal team for me right now would probably be High Constellation 0. I have a lot of gold nucleus, so I'm just saving until they put Yoimiya in the standard banner. Or sorry, Yoimiya, Cobalt B. My Yoimiya, anyways. But, yeah, I'm waiting until, to do that. But my ideal team would be Ruby, Lyn, and I need another fire character, and that would be a 0, which I think 0 also gives you a bonus. Like I think he gives you additive damage. I still think I might go 0. We'll see, because I don't know, Cobalt to me, even after investing in her quite a bit, that's the thing that sucks about Tower Fantasy. I would say there's something nice in Genshin with talents, to where like it takes a long time usually, unless you hella prepare, to like slowly chip away with resin at talent progression. And in Genshin, it's not that. In Tower Fantasy, it's not that. You basically have like matrices, which are fucking grindy. You have armor, which is grindy and RNG based, but you don't have that like grounded bump to your level. You know what I mean? Which is shitty. I wish it was. I wish it had like a talent thing. I just hate that we're likely never gonna get merit. Don't say that. You put that in the air. It's gonna happen. Okay, it's gonna happen. Fluff, be positive. Buddy says, hello, internet, please don't leave me hanging out. No. Fluff says, I'm pretty sure you do have control over where her burst goes. It's a frontal AoE, a cone AoE swap to another character. Is it meant to be the effect that she does? No, it's random. It says in the talent. I mean, maybe if I'm misremembering, I'm almost certain it says in the talent you'll basically do this mass AoE, and then it has a chance of being on whatever characters in the area, and then what do you call it? Then there's a thing where if you kill the enemy, it'll jump to another target. The issue with that though is that the distance between the target isn't specified, and it's pretty fucking close. Which is why most people, how they used Yoimiya was, even though she's very single target damage, they'd use Venti. So Venti would group enemies together, that way it'd easily jump to target to target. Also, I think when you hit the enemy, it blows up and does AoE fire damage. So yeah. But it definitely specifies that it's just like in a giant AoE, it will randomly mark a target within that AoE. You can't specifically say like, choose the ogre guy. You can kill the ad really quick, but again, with Yoimiya locking on, it's a little weird. Hopefully you're locking onto the ad and not the big hilly turtle trying to kill you that you want the dot to be on and all that stuff. What he says, coffee update. I drank some Turkish maca? What is that? He hit me. What would that be? You mean, what is it? Turkish mocha. What's that? What's the difference? What Turkish mocha? What is that? I'm curious. It is so bitter, but is it good for you? Does it hit different? Fluff says, but her damage potential isn't through her burst, but her skill. Yeah. Bodhi says, it's not. Oh, he says, but bitter. Wilson says, well, taking the week to update OBS, but everything broke. Oh no! Were you streaming? Hell yeah, Wilson! I did not know that. Let's go. Are you making content maybe in some way? Nice. What kind of content you make? Sega says no coffee. It makes me sleepy. That's fucked up. That's weird. that's the yeah. Maybe you have too much coffee. Just take a little bit. Because if you have too much coffee, I find you get tired. I heard somebody say that BioShock Infinite was a shitty game yesterday, and I thought, all right, your opinion immediately meant less to me. I don't know why. Wilson says, mods for Starfield, sure, but my PC is more than 10 years old, so I can't use mods. Really. Well, you could maybe use the Bethesda, what is it, Creation Club, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I totally think we're gonna live in a world where, and maybe it's not the same, but I always wonder why you know how Stadia was like it burned in a fire, like it was terrible. No one bought it. It went under immediately. Rough. There was some technology that I always wondered why they didn't buy or utilize. Do you guys remember the game that like flopped like nothing flopped before? It was it was a game where you basically run around a city and you sorry, this screen is disgusting. You run around a city, kind of like Prototype, but instead of it being like super gross, bloody, and like mutating stuff, instead it was you're like a guy running around the city getting orbs. Each orb gives you like a speed bonus, increases your stats in that way, kind of like Infamous. I forget what it was called, but it was that game. And I completely lost my train of thought. What was that attached to? That was a game where run around, got shit. Oh, in that game, there was, I'm not sure if you guys have been plugged into the gaming community, but in that gaming community thing, for that game, they had like this incredibly awesome looking tech where through like servers in another location would start to render this entire world. Kind of like MMO it sounded like, except they had destructible environments within that world. And it just seemed crazy. So to me, I didn't know why they didn't allow that. Like to me, I thought, and maybe they're completely different things, but I don't know why they would throw out the value that Stadia had with like streaming almost in real time to a console. And I was thinking, the other day, it's probably not even close to possible, but why would you not, instead of streaming the video game and running it off of like, you know, a console in another faraway place and then streaming it, why wouldn't you instead basically make a console game look even better by connecting it to the internet and streaming to this thing? Because you don't need the world to constantly be 100% one-to-one reaction time, right? Like the world, just especially its main set pieces. If you can contribute the main set pieces of a world, and then your console can do the heavy loading when it comes to what you have, the physics of what's going on around you. Why wouldn't they find some sort of way to merge that? And most people are already plugged into the internet when they're playing games. So if you get like a mass performance bonus or performance, rendering or say max frame rate, etc., those kind of things, so that your console could focus on like